ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासम् शरीरं मे विचर्षणम् जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवम् ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मेधा देवी जुषमाणा न आगाद् विश्वाची भद्रा सुमनस्य माना त्वया जुष्टानुगमाना दुरुक्तान् बृहद्वदेव विदथे सुवीराः त्वया जुष्ट ऋषिर्भवति देवी त्वया ब्रह्मा गतः श्रीरुतत्वया त्वया जुष्टश्चित्रं विन्दते वसुसानो जुषस्वत्र विनो न मेधे मेधां महीन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधां मे अश्विना वुभावा धत्तां पुष्करस्रजा अप्सरासु च या मेधा गन्धर्वेषु च यन्मनः दैवीं मेधा सरस्वती सा मां मेधा सुरभिर्जुषत स्वाहा आमा मेधा सुरभिर्विश्वरूपा हिरण्यवर्णा जगति जगम्या ऊर्जस्वती पयसा बिन्वमाना सा मां मेधा सुप्रतीकाजुषन्ताम् मयि मेधां मयि प्रजां मय्यग्निस्तेजो दधातु मयि मेधां मयि प्रजां मयीन्द्र इन्द्रियं दधातु मयि मेधां मयि प्रजां मयि सूर्यो भ्राजो दधातु हंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंसः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
नमो व्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्ते स्थूलम्बोदरायैकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय वरदमूर्तये नमः। Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba, and wishing all the viewers a very happy and blessed Ganeshotsavam. With Swami's infinite blessings, let us begin with today's episode of Gama Agama, a divine lecture series based on Vedic knowledge, initiated by Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organizations, India. On behalf of Sri Sathya Sai Samyukta Shruti Shreni and our Veda Poshana team, I feel privileged to extend a warm welcome to all our fortunate brothers and sisters who are watching this program live on YouTube. It is my privilege to extend our warm welcome to today's guest speaker, Professor Ana Sarasvati Konjar. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the program. Sai Ram. Professor Ana Sarasvati Konjar is from Slovenia, professor in English and French from the University of Ljubljana. She is an ardent devotee of Bhagawan Baba. She has permanently shifted to India and has been living at Puttaparthi for over 2.5 decades. When a severe car accident robbed her of her health, memory, and livelihood as a language teacher and interpreter, she turned to Swami, who told her to study the Vedas. Miraculously, the chanting restored both health and memory. Today, Professor Konjar is a Veda teacher and has taught Veda chanting to over 2,000 school children in Puttaparthi as well as hundreds of overseas devotees. Professor Konjar has served in various fields as a translator, teacher of languages, court interpreter, musician, and a painter. She completed her graduation in Science and Economics from the College of Economics and Management, Maribor, Slovenia in 1981. She was awarded the Court Interpreter Certificate by Minister of Justice, Government of Slovenia in 1994. She completed her training in Vedanta, meditation, and yoga from Spiritual University of Ljubljana in 1989. She practiced and learned Vedas and bhajans by herself at Prashanti Nilayam since 2003. For the last 21 years, she has been doing Vibronics healing seva, giving free medicine to the needy people, mostly in India. By far, more than 30,000 patients have been benefited from the same. She pursues spiritual painting as her hobby of painting Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba as well as other deities. Over to you, ma'am. Jai Sai Ram.
तं मे गोपाय।
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। यमददाद्रभसमृणच्युतं दिवो दासं वर्त्यश्वायदाशुषे। या शश्वन्तमाच्छखादावसम्पनिं ताते दात्राणि तविषा सरस्वती। इयं शुष्मेभिर्विसखा इवारुजत्सानु गिरीणां तविषेभिरूर्मिभिः। पारावतग्निमवसे सुवृक्तिभिः सरस्वतीमाविवासेम धीतिभिः। सरस्वती देवनिदो निबर्हया प्रजां विश्वस्य वृषयस्य मायिनः। उत क्षितिभ्यो वनीरविन्दो विषमेभ्यो अस्रवो वाजिनीवती। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती। धीनामवित्र्यवतु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। My most loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagawan, Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Dear brothers and sisters, dear students, loving pranams to all of you. The topic of my talk today is universality of the Vedas. You must have heard a lot about that, but there is never enough to express the beauty of the Vedas and their message to be the most precious treasure for all the world. Vedic truths belong to all the world. The God inhalation and exhalation was the source of Vedic truth. Vedas pervade everything. They are holy vibrations spreading all over the world and the whole cosmos. Every daily life, every act of daily life has its roots in the Vedas. Vedic laws express universal truths that are applicable to all places and to all times. Swami says that everyone must fill their heart with the nectar of the Vedas. Vedas have certain special, like amrita, nectar, bliss that we experience when we chant, even when we listen to them. They have soothing vibrations that can heal, that can invigorate us, that can give us certain insights in our life. They are just like the God is speaking to us. And they reveal so many aspects. Dear students, you will see the more you chant, the more you will know it is true. That truth, that beauty of the Vedas will be coming to you every day when you chant. And these healing vibrations go all around the world. So you're doing also a good sadhana, a good karma, helping to cleanse the world and to bring unity into this disturbed world. And that's why Swami says that it is our foremost duty to work for the revival of the Vedas. There were so many Vedas, Vedic mantras that are forgotten. So we have to revive them, we bring them back. Or if they are in the books, it's like they are forgotten. If nobody's chanting and reading them, it's like they are forgotten. So that is our foremost duty. And Swami was telling this for decades and decades. In many discourses, he would mention that. He would say how important it is. That was one of the main goals why he incarnated into this humanity and came as an avatar. And of course, the Vedic way of life applies to all humanity. The dharma that the Vedas prescribe are valid for all human beings, even all other beings, even animals and plants. But they have no problem with the dharma. They live the dharmic life. It is the humans, we don't live what we should. So the Vedas are eternal. Eternal means there is no limit before and after. We don't know the beginning of the Vedas. We don't know, and it won't be any end also of the Vedas. They existed, Swami said, these Vedas existed long before the people of this holy land of Bharat discovered them, practiced them, and experienced them. So only Swami knows how the Vedas came and how long they were there. We can't measure them, we can't define them, we cannot describe them, we cannot understand them. They are aprameya, they are limitless. Ananta vei vedaha, Swami said. They teach us the constant integrated awareness, that is awareness of our true nature, of our atmic blissful nature. When we see this atmic nature in all creation, in every being we come across, then it is no problem with life, because there is no fraction, no disturbance in our mind, in our heart. There is no violence, there is no misunderstanding. Heart-to-heart language is the clearest languages of all. Everybody can understand that. How a baby understands the mother and how the mother understands the baby. No need to talk. And the relationship between God and people also can be heart to heart. But of course we use the voice because it was given to us by God. And actually the most sacred way is to praise God. This is the foremost duty of the voice, of the language. To praise them, to thank them, to ask them for protection, for guidance. So this constant integrated awareness will focus us all the time on our true nature. And Swami says that one of his duties is to open the eyes of the students, and we are all his students, of course. Everybody who comes to Swami is a student. And he wants to open our eyes to the glory of the Vedas. I learned Vedas only here in India after I came to Swami. And I'm so happy that he has given me this divine command to learn Vedas 18 years ago. And I am 100% sure that my life changed completely after I started chanting. Not only that my health recovered, but also other levels of health, just like harmony and happiness. Happiness is unity with God. Happiness is when we chant the Vedas, Vedic mantras, and we understand their meaning, we are happy. Especially after we conclude the chanting. There is that bliss that comes and nourishes all levels of our body, especially emotional and higher levels. They need to be nourished with this harmony, because all the diseases, they start in the mind and they go down to the physical level. Once they are on the physical level, it's pretty late. Huh? So if we work daily on chanting and quieting the mind, the monkey mind we all have, it's a big challenge to do, to quiet and to keep the mind steady and still. And one of the ways, one of the sadhanas is chanting. Beautiful sadhana. Chanting and singing bhajans. Samaveda is also, music is also part of the Vedas. So we have to put this in practice. And Swami even says that he wants to convince us that what is put in the Veda, what is like promised in these mantras and suktas and Upanishads, like those Vedic injunctions, when they are put in practice, they will yield the result promised. All the results that they say, it will happen. And we know we come, I remember when I came across the Narayana Upanishad, one of the first one, beautiful Upanishad. And there it says, it's a very short one and very easy to learn. And it says, if we chant Narayana Upanishad, morning and evening and in the middle of the day, in the right way, we will attain union with God. Sayujyam avapnoti. 2 times he said. Sayujyam avapnoti. That is the goal of our life. The goal of our life is not to be born again, to go back to the source, to merge in God. And one of very easy way is to chant. I think that is just a wonderful promise. And this kind of promises and all the other promises are spread all over the Vedas. Even for worldly treasures, worldly needs, we chant Sri Suktam. Whatever we want to attain, the gods give us if we pray to them. In many discourses, Swami would say, Yenna bharate thanna bharata. That is in Telugu. I don't know much Telugu, but I've heard him saying that so often. And this Vedic dictum of Swami can be translated in many ways, but basically it means what is not available in Bharat, what is not present in Bharat, is not present anywhere else in the world. And in one of the discourses he said, and if there is something in other worlds, in other countries, and is not in Bharat, it is not of lasting value. So it's only those really precious things that he's talking about when he says, Yena Bharate Dhana Bharata. Bharat is so sacred land. He has given so many beautiful discourses on this land. And sometimes it would be just like India. This sacred land of Bharat, Swami says, it's not an expanse of land between the Himalayas and the seas around the peninsula. It is the name of a way of life. That is a big difference. He even says that those people who are born in India, if they don't live the Vedic way of life, they are not Bharatians. We can say Vibhishana was Bharatian, even if he was in Lanka. And people on the other side of the world, if they live dharmic life, they are Bharatians. Swami is always referring to quality, not quantity, not outside facts, but what is in our heart, how we follow this universal law of dharmic life. Bharat is also the name for tolerance and mutual love. Tolerance is very important in the world, especially nowadays, and it has always been. And of course, love. Love is everything. Love is God. If we live in love, we don't need anything else. And then Swami says that Bharat, the sacred land of Bharat, is like a garden with multicolored religions, philosophies, creeds, and faiths. So all religions also have their roots in this sacred land of Bharat. And we know how Swami celebrated these festivals of different religions. Everybody could participate. He said Christianity and Christmas is not only for Christians, and Buddhist festivals also, for everybody could participate. And we loved the Hindu festivals, how we enjoyed. So many times there were more people from foreign countries on Mahashivaratri festivals than Bharatians. And Swami loved them. And we loved singing Shiva Bhajan. We always loved Shiva Bhajans, all bhajans. Because this is that Atmic love that pervades everything, everybody, all creation. And once we tune in, we can feel that love of God in our heart. And then there is no problem in the world. If we have love, we have everything. So Bharat is a very sacred land. And many times Swami would refer to Bharat as India, especially when he was talking to students, that they should not live, and they should not leave this this sacred land, and to go to foreign countries just to make money, to make more money. And many times it is not even so easy as it looks like. It's not all gold what it glitters. Huh? We know that. These foreign countries, they appear so attractive, but they are not. I come from one, from Europe. Outside it is cleaner, it is very green, but now even in Buddha Party we have everything clean and green. It appears like it is a better world. But people, most of the people, they live only, they follow the pravriti marga. Only the outside, external world is important for them. Even if they are officially Christians, many times they don't think about Jesus or pray or go to church. It is interesting how those countries that like ex-communist countries. I come from Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was also, now my country is Slovenia, a very small country in the middle of the Europe, between Austria and Italy. And in these countries, God officially did not exist. And we could a little bit practice. Yugoslavia was in this sense better than Russia. We could go to church, but it would mean that we are like second-class people. The good jobs and positions, they were reserved for communists only. I know I had to decide who am I when I was offered a very profitable job, but they wanted me to become a communist that read a booklet, and I could not do that. Like, how can I deny God? And maybe even Indians, young people, they will be in the same. This is a test of God. Of course, we are put into test. Either you go this way, the outward way, the materialistic way, and make a lot of money, or you follow your rich traditional ways, Vedic ways of life. And I know for you, most of you, it is no longer a problem because you chant Vedas, and you know about Swami, you know about his teachings, but even this you may still have this kind of tests, and this is Vedic injunctions put into practice. That is the most important. Swami says if we just chant, it has certain chant or listen to Vedas, Vedic mantras, of course it is beneficial. But if we really understand what we are chanting, what these Vedic laws mean in life, then we know what is right and what is wrong. It is very clearly described in Vedas. We don't need to, we just refer, and we know, we ask somebody who is experienced. So this is about Vedic norms, Vedic injunctions. And Bharat is this a garden of multicolored religions. There are many religions in India and all over the world, and many philosophies, and many foreign people from foreign countries have always been attracted to come to Bharat. Me also. I've always, for no reason, I've always thought about India Kurumandia. And many people in my country, in Slovenia, they talk about India Kurumandia as a country that does not exist on earth. It's like a fairy tale country, a promised land country, country of abundance, of richness, of happiness, of ideal life that we cannot find on earth. It was only when I came to India, I could see that India, Coromandia, probably refers to this Coromandel part of Tamil Nadu. That's where the name came from, because there were always this transportation of Indian goods, not only jewelry and spices, but other. It was quite developed by sea, by air, by land. India, Bharatians were even much highly developed than today, Swami told. In the time of Rama, for sure, the development, scientific development of this civilization was much higher than today. They were using vimanas. This is not fairy tale. I remember when Swami was talking about Ramayana in Vrindavan, and in the middle of the discourse he stopped and he said, half of you think that I am talking about fairy tale or something like that, he said. Like you don't believe what I'm talking. And I thought, no, Swami, of course I always believed. I never had any doubt about Ramayana or Mahabharata or Puranas. I did not know so much, but I know they are teaching us something, and I can always appreciate what they teach, and I love them. I love to study them and this Vedic names. And so I was so surprised that Swami said something like that. And later, when I stayed longer in India and traveled a little bit, because sometimes it's hot in Puttaparthi, we used to go to the Himalayas, and we would meet people who educated people, and they did not believe in they said the stories of Ramayana. And it is ironical that after NASA made those photos of Ramasetu, of that bridge between Rameshwaram and Lanka, many Indians said, okay, now we have to believe, like what can we do? We know we are not at that stage, but we meet people who still think like that. Swami says Bharatians are like elephants who don't know what strengths they have. There's everything is here in Bharat, not only for spiritual, in spiritual domain, also in material. So we should know that what Swami says, it is good. And people from foreign countries, throughout history, they were coming to Bharat for inspiration. They studied Vedas and translated them. And sometimes, like Max Müller, Swami mentioned him so many times. He was actually from Germany, but he worked in Oxford, and he translated so many, more than 40 books. He wrote on Vedas, and he would study and was so disappointed when he met somebody who was a Shastri, who should be expert in all the Vedas, and he did not know any of them. He could not believe that educated people of India stopped chanting, stopped learning, And they even thought that Vedas are useless. That is very sad. And that's why Swami had to correct this wrong way of. And today we can say Vedas are chanted all over the world. That is what Swami was teaching for so many years, and he attracted, he's a magnet, he's the most powerful magnet. He attracted those old souls who may have been chanting Vedas in their previous lives. We don't know who we were before. We had many, many lives. Swami said, nobody is a stranger to me. Swami knows everybody, his history, his previous births, what is now going on in his devotees, and even a little bit or more, or everything about the future, because so many things in life are like predestined. And Swami, of course, he gives us the best advice about ourselves. I did not know many things about myself. It was only Swami's grace he opened up and showed. When he told me in Vrindavan to learn Vedas, I thought first that he was joking, because at that time I was in very bad condition. I have had health issues, health problems all my life, and I had 3 accidents, and the one in 2002 was really very bad, and I had many bones broken and concussion and memory loss and pain all over the body. I got this official disability, 3rd class disability from the Slovenian Medical Board, and they told me I will never be well again. My nerves were very bad, and without the memory I could not do any job, I could not make my living. So I was broken physically, emotionally. Like everything I lived in my life, I lost my family, because they thought I'm really crazy. They thought, if this guru, this Indian guru she's running after, look what happened. She's a completely disabled person. That's only because of him. But I knew it's not like that. I know that only Swami can give me that strength to go to pass this test of life. That was my bad karma from before. I know I'm paying off the bad karma. But it was not easy. So when I came, Swami was my only refuge. Only. Anyatha sharanam nasti tvameva sharanam mama. The only one. And I started chanting because he told me, because I know I have to listen to him and it would be good, but I couldn't memorize 2 mantras, 3 mantras. It was not possible. But he kept prompting. It was many leelas, how he made me believe that he's serious about my duty to learn Vedas. And then slowly it came back. Slowly I could notice that my memory is improving. Especially it was working more with Vedic chanting than with other things in life. I could not memorize my telephone. At that time I didn't even have a telephone, but I could not memorize any telephone number or any other more complicated things. I was never good with numbers anyway, but these mantras were coming like from some past, or I don't know. I was just listening to the tapes and didn't have any teacher, was not available. But Swami had Vedic chanting every day in the mandir, so I would go there and just chant with them. At that time, there were not many people from public that would chant. There were Swami students, they were always chanting, because that was part of their program. But especially on my side, on the woman's side, there were so few women chanting. I only knew about 10 in the whole mandir with thousands of people. And but this improved with years, and I even had to go through many tests. There were people opposed to chanting. They were criticizing me, and they said, you can only chant at home. I was not allowed to chant in the mandir. Chanting is so powerful that negativity, we bring negativity out of people and ourselves. We're cleansing ourselves. So these tests, I know you will not have them because you're not a foreigner and you're not a woman. You know that women in India were also not allowed to chant. It's only now that they are chanting. And when we had this beautiful Rudram chanting 2017 on the occasion of the first International Veda Conference, there were more women than men. And it was so powerful and so beautiful. There was a big revival of Vedas. And now I know Swami is happy now, finally. These young people are also, they love chanting, they are studying, and this is the purpose why I'm speaking today. I know I can't teach you a lot, but I can say with 100% conviction that Vedic mantras have healing effects. You've heard about that in other, you had a talk and the researches and all this. You can hear this on YouTube and everywhere in the books, but maybe you don't meet people who practically went through that. There are many effects, not only on memory and on alleviating the pain, it's also on the emotional side. Because of stress, I had bad nerves and even insomnia. I couldn't sleep, and depression, and all that is now almost gone. Even my vision. I was born with bad vision. I had to wear glasses. The only one in the class, I had to wear thick glasses. And after the accident, my eyes were very sensitive to light. Daylight or even the neon light was even worse, and I had to wear thick, dark glasses. And look, now I don't wear glasses. I'm okay without glasses. People cannot understand that, but I know it is. These sacred vibrations, they put it scientifically, they put the chakras into order, all the levels of our body, and then slowly all the parts of the body start vibrating the right vibrations, the way they should be, and the disturbance, the disease slowly goes out. That is one of the principles of homeopathic medicine or vibrational medicine, which I'm also practicing now. And Swami has blessed this vibranics, and it is a wonderful tool for clean vibrational medicine. And this all has its roots in the Vedas. Even homeopathy. Everybody thought homeopathy is from Hahnemann, from German. But this is just another example how these Indians have discovered something in the past, and then they stopped practicing. Like so many things. And then the people in Western countries rediscovered them again. Fibonacci number, you had a talk about that. It's one of the examples, or Newton's law of attraction. The earth always had attraction, and the Bharatians knew about it. Otherwise, they could not be able to go into the space and travel and by air. So this was always there, but because it was forgotten, people from other countries rediscovered them, and it is good, because if it's forgotten, somebody else has to remember what God has given us. And this homeopathy, again, the power of gemstones, of the power of certain metals, and that was highly developed in the past, and it's in the Vedas, Charaka Samhita, and the great Indian medical expert Charaka. Swami said that he was performing operations while chanting Vedic mantras, and he could do very, very advanced and very good operations that are now only maybe coming back. And even in the Swami's hospitals, all the time there are bhajans, mantras, are helping to restore health, along with the selfless service of the personnel of all those sevadas and surgeons and nurses. This is just another example. Swami wanted to show the ideal to the world with all his projects, be it medical or water projects or whatever. And the revival of Vedas is one of his projects, and we are part of it. And we should be happy about it and enthusiastic and just grateful to Swami that he has given us. And I indeed am so, so grateful. It is also this peace of mind that the Vedic mantras give us, this equanimity which comes. Everything what comes in life is good for us. We have surrendered, so it has to come, and it will go, even if it's unpleasant. We know this is our karmic knots, karmic debts that we have to go through and pay, but it will pass. And we know where our path is going in the Vedas, where you have all Brahma Vidya and Upanishads. They tell us about the meaning of life, the goal of life. And there are so few left, but at least we should chant that one. And in the beginning, when I started, I was chanting Sarasvati Suktam, just only 4 lines from Sarasvati Suktam. You're mostly chanting Meda Suktam. But Sarasvati Suktam is, it's much longer. It's the Riks from Rig Veda. And there, these names of Goddess Sarasvati are many other names, Sinivali, Raka, and that reminds me of one sambhashan with Swami before he told me this divine command to learn Vedas. That was 3 years before, also in Whitefield. I asked Swami, when I stayed longer and longer in India, I noticed that many devotees, they took up some spiritual name, because names are very important. Names have vibration, and so I was thinking if I would also use one name of Goddess Sarasvati, because she embodies all what I cherished and I still do, arts and Veda and music and all, and pustaka, she's holding books. I loved studying, and Veena, of course, beautiful instrument, and also rosary, japa mala. I was doing a lot of japa in my life, and I still do, repeating God's name. So she was like of all Indian goddesses, she was the best to take up the name. But I said I would ask Swami, because if he doesn't want me to do, then I won't do. At that time I really completely surrendered and kept asking Swami, not mine, thy will be done. That was my motto all the time. Please, Swami, you think through me, you do through me, you love through me. I don't want my mind to command my life again. It was all wrong what it did. So in one of the darshans, I asked Swami if I can take the name Sarasvati for my spiritual name. And he said very clearly, he said, you are Sarasvati. You are Sarasvati. And I thought, well, what is this? He didn't say yes, he didn't say no. What does that mean? I knew there is something more than just yes, because if you are Sarasvati, then it's okay. I can take up the name. And so I used both. I'm still using both names, Ana and Sarasvati. And Ana is, of course, a Christian name. I come from Christian background, and my parents did not know any Vedic mantras or Indian culture. Ana is the name of Jesus's grandmother. She also, it's a very common name in the Western world, one of the most common names. And she is like Goddess Sarasvati. She, in those like paintings of Ana or sculptures, I had one in the church. She was sitting right next to me. She had those long black hair like Indians. And her daughter Mary was on the other side, is many times depicted like a blonde. We don't know if that is true or not, because there was no photography at that time. And Swami said even Krishna, we have these images of Krishna. He said Krishna didn't look like Bala Krishna, like he is painted. So anyway, in Christianity, in the Western world, they use this more Western symbols of people, of white people. But Goddess Saint Ana, she has this black hair and a book and a rosary. And they say they don't know much about her, just they know that she was very learned. She got that knowledge from her parents. It was the same succession. Mother is the first teacher. And she taught this this wisdom she taught to her daughter Mary, and Mary then taught Jesus. So I still did not connect that Ana and Sarasvati is the same. Somebody had to tell me that, and this is I learned from a person you all know, Vedanarayanan sir. That was at the time when I was already teaching, and he was listening. He listened to my students chanting, and he liked it very much. They are really very good chanters, better than I'm chanting, of course, because they are from this surrounding villages. They speak Telugu, and Telugu is very close to Sanskrit, huh? Especially in the pronunciation part. They have different alphabet, but when they pronounce Vedic mantras, they are perfect. For us, it is a little bit a challenge to be perfect in the rendition. It's not easy, but we try, we do our best, and Swami encourages if we do more than it is just common, huh? So Vedanarayanan, he was listening to my students chanting, and he told them, you are very lucky to have a teacher who is 2 times Sarasvati. 2 times Sarasvati. And then he said, Ana is a synonym of goddess Sarasvati. We have this goddess Sarasvati is the goddess of pranas, prana, apana, dhyana, samana, udana, osonyana, ana. So these Vedic vibrations somehow of goddess Sarasvati, she is present all over the world. All over the world, people were in a way chanting or invoking or just praying, and literature is also from all over the world, and arts, and music, and just the names changed, and sometimes even the names didn't change, because Sanskrit is the mother language of all the languages in the world, not only Indo-European languages. That's what I was taught when I was studying English. Old English especially is closer to Sanskrit than it is modern English. Swami was talking about that also in his discourses. He said that Sanskrit is like grandmother, and Latin or Greek, that's also old European languages. They are like mother, and English is like daughter. Like in that way, that he said there's no daughter without a grandmother. So this Vedic, this Sanskrit language is the language, the first language of the world. And Vedic literature is the first literature and the richest literature in the world. It is a treasure for all. The Vedic truths express this beautiful bondage between God and his children. And that applies to all people in the world. We all came from God, and we will all, one time, will go back to God. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, respected ma'am. We can't thank you enough for expounding over the topic of universality about the Vedas. Through your kind and sweet words, we were able to know that the Vedas are the inhalation and exhalation of our dearest Lord. They are one of the main reasons why God incarnated as Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Only Swami knows how Vedas originated and how long they'll remain. They are aprameya, as Swami said, ananto vai Vedaha. Vedas help cleansing our minds and develop heart-to-heart conversation, the purest form of conversation known so far. Vedas chanting promote harmony and happiness. It nourishes our emotional as well as physical well-being and help us control over our monkey mind. As you explained about the Narayana Upanishad, that it is said in the Narayana Upanishad, if we chant Narayana Upanishad in the morning, evening, in the middle of the day, in a correct manner, we will attain union with God. Oh my God, that is the only goal of our life. It's wonderful. Swami used to say, what is not in Bharata is not anywhere in the world. And if there is something which is anywhere in the world but not in Bharat, it is not significant. Very important point, ma'am. Thanks for clearing this one especially. You told us that if we really understand what the Vedic laws mean in life, then only the chanting can be extremely useful to us. Mr. Max Muller, who was basically from Germany, worked in Oxford and wrote more than 40 books on Vedas. It will be such a pity if we Indians do not follow our traditions and do not work more and more upon Vedas. So being Indians basically should mean that we learn more and more Vedas and support more and more in this pious Veda Poshana program. As you mentioned that people used to criticize you being a woman chanting Veda, and you quoted a very excellent example of 2017, where more women were there in the Prashanti Nilayam Saikulwant Hall chanting Rudram than men. Swami was very, very happy. You also taught us, you also told us that chanting Vedam helped you fight depression, negativity, insomnia, and even your eyesight improved a lot. This alone depicts the power of Veda chanting. You also emphasized on vibronics that work on vibrational level and is a very pure method of healing. You also threw some light on worshipping goddess Sarasvati. With this, our summary comes to an end. I would like to conclude today's session by offering complete surrender unto Swami's lotus feet and praying him for his guidance and for helping us sustain in this pious mission of Veda Poshana program. Thank you, Swami. Thank you, ma'am. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Sathya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshak Bhakta Jana Samrakshak Pati Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hare Shashivadana Sridhara Sarva Pranapati Swami Sarva Pranapati Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Avatandhava Om Jai Jagadish Hare Mata Pita Guru Daivamu Mariyantayu Nive Swami Mariyantayu Nive Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nagena Shayana Om Jai Jagadish Hare Omkara Rupa Ojasvi Ho Sai Mahadeva Sathya Sai Mahadeva Mangala Harati Anduko Mangala Harati Anduko Mandala Giridhari Om नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण 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 ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण 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 ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की